Welcome to my presentation on catering for diversity in the classroom. I'm George Soropoulos, and today I will be running through the following topics. What is diversity in schools? What does students who come from diverse backgrounds and have diverse needs mean? How does the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers address diversity? How can deficit views on diversity disadvantage students? What is inclusive education? What is the difference between exclusion, segregation, and integration? How can individuals be supporting in the context of everybody? The value of working with families in regards to inclusive education. And finally, to end this presentation, my own personal teaching philosophy in regards to catering for diversity within my future classroom. What is diversity in schools? To get the best out of this presentation, it's best if we all understand what diversity in schools looks like. Diversity is a wide-ranging concept that includes everything that makes each student, teacher, parent, or guardian unique. Diversity covers many aspects within a school, though it will often include one or more of the following: race or ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, physical ability, appearance, intelligence, mental ability, family dynamics. Each of these topics and many more are some of the building blocks that can make up our diverse community. With those concepts in mind, it may have become apparent that some of these students may have diverse needs. As stated, all students that are current and future teachers will have the opportunity to educate, will come from a variety of backgrounds. It's not just enough to acknowledge these differences, it is also important to recognize that some of these students may have diverse needs and they may benefit from certain accommodations. An example of this could be using larger print on worksheets for a student with a vision impairment, or by ensuring the entire classroom is accessible for all students, regardless of ability. The Australian Professional Standards for Teachers address diversity in several key focus areas. These include focus areas 1.1, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 2.4, 3.1, 3.5, 3.7, and 4.1. By setting clear and outlined graduate standards, the Australian Institute for Teachers and School Leadership can be confident in their new graduates' ability to teach, understand, respect, and most importantly, appreciate the diverse range of students they may encounter. How can deficit views disadvantage students in the range of diversity? It is important to note that no two individuals are the same, and within this range of diversity, it is expected that some deficit views could arise. However, as educators, it is our responsibility to address these views and ensure that they do not affect our teaching or treatment of students. Imagine for a moment you are an international student who has recently arrived in Australia and you have been placed into a predominantly white Anglo-Saxon class. You are willing to learn, but the teacher shows very little interest in teaching you. You are not treated poorly, but you feel ignored. I want you to think for a moment how this would make you feel about learning. Chances are you would feel quite disengaged. You could slowly lose interest in learning and possibly stop going to school altogether. This is just one example of how deficit views could affect students. What is the difference between exclusion, segregation, and integration? Exclusion is the simple act of being excluded. This can be direct, if, for example, a student is refused entry to school, or indirect, if there are limitations placed on students' learning. Segregation is simply the process of separating students into different classrooms. Some examples of segregation can include gifted and talented classrooms or specialty Finally, integration is the process of including students with diverse needs into mainstream classrooms without making any accommodations to assist their learning. Now that I have covered that, you may be wondering, what is inclusive education? Simply put, inclusive education is ensuring that all students, regardless of their diverse needs, are included and accepted within the general classroom. Now, that may sound just like integration with a fancy title, but it's more than that. True inclusion is taking the extra step to make accommodations and changes to the classroom and teaching practices to ensure that all students are able to contribute, participate, and be provided with the best opportunity to learn. Some key features of inclusive education are: it places emphasis on full student participation, it is created without discrimination, it requires ongoing reflection, focuses on creating a positive environment, welcomes diversity, and sees it as a learning opportunity as opposed to a hindrance, and that is a learner focused, not teacher focused method. How can individuals be supported in the context of everybody? When inclusive education is in the forefront of an educator's mind, they can ensure that school and lessons are accessible to everybody so that students can feel supported and encouraged to learn. It is vital in our diverse community that teachers are able to adjust their teaching methods to better suit the learner, as opposed to waiting for the learner to conform to their methods. The values of working with family. It has often been mentioned that a family is a child's first teacher, and it has been proven in the past that when a child's family plays an active role in their education, students are more likely to achieve more in school, they're more likely to become active learners, they're more likely to behave appropriately, they are more likely to even complete high school, they are more likely to improve attendance, and they are actually shown to have improved social skills with their peers. Finally, to end this presentation, I would like to discuss my personal teaching philosophy in regards to catering for diversity. I firmly believe that education is a key part of being a happy, successful, and well balanced individual. However, I do not believe in the one size fits all model of teaching that was implemented primarily during my schooling years. We are, as mentioned several times, part of a diverse community that includes different cultures, religions, abilities, interests, and most importantly, learning styles. I wholeheartedly believe that this needs to be considered when teaching. My teaching philosophy is simple. I would like to create a safe, welcoming, and enriching classroom built on mutual respect and open communication, where every learner is considered an individual and their needs and wants are considered when teaching. By learning, understanding, and appreciating my future students' diverse needs, I hope to be better able to tailor my lessons, environment, and classroom experience to the learner as opposed to myself, the teacher. Thank you for your time today.